Alright guys, we're back. I just wanted to show you what we got to do. I've got all the frets on this and got the fingerboard halfway cleaned up like it should be. And right now we got to figure out, before I glue this neck in, how much I gotta take off on it in order to get it right. Now I've got this turned all the way down, and that's really not where I want it. I want the bridge to be up somewhat, at least about yay high. And right now we're setting too low. As you can see, I'm hitting the bridge, and we need to be over the bridge from the top of the frets. We need to be right there over it, just a little bit. So what I got to do now is figure out the break angle on this joint right here on the back side. So we're going to do a little chiseling. And what we want to do ideally is take off from the bottom side here and have an angle going up like that. And if you can see that gap in there, that's what we need. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it needs to come back like this at a tilt. So I got to take some off of the heel, and that's what we're going to do. So you want to take an even amount off on your way up. And you got to be careful. You want to be taking the same You just got to take your time and make sure you're not taking too much or not enough. And if you're taking off from here and taking off from there, you got to also take off from the middle part. So you got to remember that. Right here you can kind of see where if you use this chisel as a straight edge, I've got a pretty good gap right in there between here and the heel, so that it's gapped right there. So I need to take more off of the heel in order to bring that, take that gap out of there. And basically both sides have to be done the same. Now this one has a better angle on it. There is no gap on this side except for up here a little bit. So taking off down from here to here and taking off from, say, here to there is about what I need to do. And right now I need to sharpen this chisel. It's really dull, so I'll let you stick around for that if you want. I'll show you how I do it. That's my rough side. I have a instrument that you can put this chisel in to get your right angle on the chisel. And you've got to tighten this thing up. Get it in there straight. They've got a name for this. I don't know what. I think it's a angle plane or something like that. I don't know. All I know is it holds the chisel and you got to get the right angle at it. And I might have to pull it back up just a little bit. Almost have it too tight. You got to get the bevel of that chisel down flat, just like that, so it all that looks good right there. Now, okay, and let me find my I've got some honing fluid, if I can find it. There it is. If you dig enough, you'll find all your stuff. Okay, got to put a few drops on there. Now I'm getting a good smooth cut from the whetstone. Everything's at the right angle, and it's got a little wheel on it. Just keep it level. Keep going until you got a straight edge across there. It'll make your chisel square to whatever your chisel. Everybody does this different, so. You want to sit there and say, oh, that's not how I would do it, then give me a suggestion and I'll try your way if it's any easier. I think they call this thing a honing guide. It's a chisel guide. You can put chisels in it, plain blades. I guess you could even put a screwdriver in it if you wanted to, in order to get it like you want it. Alright. Let's see what we got there. Well, I can tell you this, that's sharp. But it's not sharp enough. We need to take some of this liquid and put it over here on this side. And this is your finishing side, the very, very smooth side of the stone. And you talk about this will cut the mustard right here now, I'm telling you. It'll be razor sharp when I'm done. So be careful. And I don't know why most guys will check to see if it will cut your hair, but I'm not going to do that. My luck, I'd cut my skin. So. It's always something. All right. Here's a piece of paper. It's actually the instructions for my butane pencil torch. And you can see right there, it made a smooth cut. So, that means we're done here. I like to keep this stone wrapped up in this rag so it doesn't get black stuff all over the place. Oh, I don't know if you've seen that. That's a little homemade jig for my Dremel tool for a rider bit. It works excellent. Okay. Okay, now we'll see. Let's go back and check our gaps. Boy, I got a big gap right here on this one. So we need to come back in here and start about right there. Whoops. Start chiseling off this area. Keep your fingers out of the way. And this wood must be good hard rock makeable because it's very hard to chisel. I better put my what do they call these? Copper fit. I tell you what, if you got arthritis, they definitely help you. I know I've said this before, but Shavings are coming off now. You always want to go inward when you're cutting, because if you cut outward like this, you take a chance of breaking your grain. We're just trying to change the angle of this heel right here. And it doesn't take much. You take a millimeter off here, then as far as the plane of that fretboard goes, it's going to be more down there. Started off kind of clumsily there, so don't do what I do. Find you a better way. I've already got that gap on the inside. That gap's gone, but right here on the outside of it, it's almost gone. But you want to keep your angle going inward. Like that. Like that. You want to take off less outside here and more on the inside, because that's going to fit up better on your joint, on that dovetail joint. I'm just taking off a little bit at a time. Just trying to get this angle a little more back that way. Always go to the inside. Now, see that working there now. Now the outside edge of this side has a good line to it. It's got not many gaps, so you really just want to kind of change the inside part of that going towards the dovetail. Leave that outside line flush like it is. You'll get a good joint when we put the neck in the socket there. Now there's another thing we're going to do. I don't know what to call it, but we'll be taking a piece of sandpaper, pulling the sandpaper as we go to get that angle right. Get this sharp chisel out of the way. And I think we've done some good there. You always want to check your work. Now then, that loosened up that joint quite a bit. So you may have to compensate somehow to make it tight, but that's fitting pretty good right there. Now then, is our plane correct though? The angle right. See, I want this up a little bit, so you got some play. As you tighten them strings up, it's going to automatically pull it out a little bit. So you want your bridge to be as high as you can get it and still fit good. Now we're going to be taking some off of the bottom here after we get rolling there. Now let's see how we're closer, but we're not good enough. We've got to inspect this joint. Now I'm probably going to have to now put shims here and right here in order to make it fit a little better in there. I still got a little work to do on the inside of that dovetail joint in order to clean it up. This by far is the hardest part of this project. So you just gotta take your time and go a little bit at a time, make sure you're getting it right. And you only have still below that, so I want to be right on top of that bridge, my neck angle. And I got some more work to do, so we'll come back and do it again. I'll show you some more. Hey guys, I'm back for a little bit. I wanted to show you what I ran into. You see that gap at the bottom of the dovetail there? That's not supposed to be that way. And that's the way they must have did it at the factory. So now what we got to do is put a shim in there. And I have, for the sake of the audience, I have cut one already. And you see, this thing will not flex to go all the way down to that block, which is this neck block. So I had to cut one and I thinned it down to where I think I need it. So we're going to try to put it in there. First thing you got to do is cut a couple of pieces off each corner so I can get it to wedge down in there. It's just a little old hobby saw. It works very well. brush that off, get all the sawdust off of it. It's double-sided tape. It's pressure-sensitive tape, and it works really well. Now I can put that down in there and hopefully I can get it to wedge in there. Then I'm going to go in there with some, I think I'll just have to push glue down in there to okay, so I'm gonna have to sand a little bit of this thing. It's really a small piece of wood, so you gotta hold it tight. If I can get that down in there and glued in, and what's happening, and I dare say that was done at the factory back in the 50s. It should have been glued in there or glued to that block, and for some odd reason they didn't do it. I guess they was no telling how many they was making that day. So now see if this was a job I was doing for somebody else, you know, it'd take quite a bit of time to get this done, and time is money in this job, especially if you're working by the hour. And you can quote somebody a price, you know, but you also want to say, that's if I run into no problems. And this is a problem. Luckily, this is my mandolin that I bought, so it's my problem, you know. I don't want to do anything halfway, so that has to be done, otherwise that neck would come loose again, and that's exactly what the problem was to begin with. It worked loose from that dovetail joint, and the neck bowed up and had all kinds of way too hard to play. So this is the solution. If I was to go ahead and put that neck in there like so, and at the bottom there, that would probably just pull up again. And you want a permanent fix, so I've got to put this shim in there, and afterwards I've got to shim, and I've said this before, each side right here, I'll put a little piece of veneer on each side of this to make that dovetail a little bigger, because I got this cleaned out pretty good. But it's got to be done, it's got to be done. Okay, so now we're cooking with some hot grease now. Look at there. See how that's just falling right in there now. I've got me a little bitty set of pliers here. They're cute. Oh yeah. Now look at there. See, I got that gap fixed. But I've got to glue it in place. I'll bring you back when I get that glued up and dried. We'll see what we got to do then, okay? Thank you.